Call Haloim Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakudash, Barakatham. Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar from the GMS Orlando camp, here with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and from whom we learn his truth. Shalom to you, Akim, who are not in GMS, but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. With all sincerity, to you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you speckled birds who are scattered among the nations, looking like those nations, to the 144,000 elect men and the rest of the hopeful elect. To you I say, Shalom. This lesson is inspired by a conversation the brothers was having, about a week or two ago. And it's on Psalms, the 73rd chapter, right? So that's really all we're going to get in this lesson. And this is more of an encouragement, all right, in the spirit, more so than an admonition or rebuke, okay? This is encouragement, which, is also needful for the body, all right? We are supposed to encourage one another in the Lord, man. Because, as the brothers was saying, this walk can be hard, man. All right. And every individual has a different measure of spirit, which is why it's important to be around other people that have either the same or a stronger spirit than you. But being around like-minded people in general, all right, through the spirit is paramount, because when we are in our period of trials and tribulations, right, we sometimes other brothers will be going through hell at the same time as you, so there's like that moment of we can relate. And then other times there's brothers who have been through what you're going through, right, or something similar, or maybe they haven't, but there is going to be somebody amongst the body that's going to be good. All right, everybody not going to be catching hell all at the same time. All right, so when another brother's up, while one brother's down, another brother might be up, and that uplifting in spirit, comes in handy, man. It's and it shows you the balance of the Lord. All right, and hey, I might have spoken too soon when I said we was only going to get Psalms the 73rd chapter. I might grab like maybe another one or two verses. But anyway, that's what this lesson is. All right. So with that, let me grab my first couple points and real quick. Yeah, so this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, all right, or the book of Sirach, okay, which is in the Apocrypha, okay. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1, and it reads, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation," right? "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in a time of trouble." Okay? "Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." All right. "Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him." All right. I got to get 7 too. "Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail." Right? But a couple points I wanted to get, starting at verse 1, and and this goes for the sisters too. All right, you Akwath, you sincere sisters. It says, "When you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." Right? "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." And that's for anybody, brothers and sisters alike, who come to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, because the scriptures say that we use the world but not abuse it. Right? We have to be in the world but not of the world. Okay, so as you depart spiritually from this place, this hell that we're in, and you have to realize that this is our place of punishment, that we are indeed in hell. Okay? Once you start to separate yourself from the world, you have to understand that the world will look at you in a strange manner. All right? And demons will become manifest. Demons will make themselves known. You can be minding your own business, walking into the gas station and put some money on your pump, and some demons just turn to look at you and give you this fucked up ass look. You ain't even said nothing, ain't did nothing, right? Because people actually have demons on them. And the thing is, the demons can see the light. So even when people can't necessarily tell what they're doing, because it ain't them, it's the demon that's on them. You know, they'll just, and you'll catch it. It could be at your job. All right. It could be at a family function. But again, you know, when you come to serve the Lord, you got to prepare your soul, man. Because the scriptures tell us another thing. They say is the spirit and the flesh are contrary to one another, right? So that we know. So those that are living in the flesh, and they're not walking in the spirit, because the scriptures also say, "Walk ye in the spirit, that you fulfill not the temptation of the flesh." Let me see if I can get that. I might got to get that over here, Salakia. Yeah, Galatians 5:16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." Right? And that lust of the flesh goes beyond just sexual lewdness. All right, that goes for covetousness. All right, gluttony, being an insatiable spirit like Esau, man. Okay? So you have to understand these things. So walking in the spirit so you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. That could be wrath. Some people get off, they got a evil spirit on them, a spirit of wrath, man. All right, and anger or pride. Being proud is another thing. That's another lust of the flesh. All these things are demons, though, and you have to understand them for what they are. Okay, this is why it's important to pray, to stay prayed up. All right, there's no such thing as too much prayer. The scriptures tell us to pray without ceasing. That means without stopping. You should be sending up prayers multiple times a day. And they don't always got to be formal prayers. You ain't always got to open, call Elohim Yahweh, but you ain't always got to open with a formal prayer. But you need to be talking to the Lord. You can never do that enough. Ever. All right. Salakia, because I get to rambling. This is verse 2. Sirach 2:2. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Right? Constantly endure. And that's the thing. Because the scriptures talk about us having patience. Right? Endure hardness as a good soldier. The brothers at camp always going into that. And constantly endure and make not haste in a time of trouble. That means when you going through hell, right? When you catching hell, don't be hasty. Right? How they say, be still, right? And know that I am he. The Christians love paraphrasing that. Right? And you have to consider that the shit that you go through, the hell that you go through, is given to you to prove you, to prove your faith. Are you going to lean on the Lord or not? Are you going to be patient when the Lord tells you to wait? Are you going to accept a no when the Lord tells your ass no? Because the Lord don't always give you what you want, man. Sometimes he will always give you what you need, but he's not going to always give you what you want. Some things he withhold from you so you don't destroy yourself, which is a blessing. And we're going to get that in a roundabout way when we pick up Psalm 73. Right? Because, listen, we see the wicked prosper in this life, in this world. And they seem to just be moving through life without a care. Got shit figured out. They got the cheat codes, man. Everything on easy mode. But you got to consider that latter end. All right? Verse 3 speaks on that. Here it is. Let me read it. It says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. And what's our last end? Right? Well, one or two things are going to happen. Either the Lord going to tap you and call that spirit back home, means you're going to give up the ghost. You're going to die, right? You're going to be unalived. However that happened, it could be, you can go to sleep and not wake up. You can have a horrific home going, right? It could be a break-in, it could be a car accident, whatever. It could be judgment, a horrific judgment, right? Or the Lord could just maim your ass and have you bed like a quadriplegic, just stuck, living in a shell, unable to give up the ghost. That's another form of hell, right? But many are going to perish. Some will be translated, right? Meaning they will endure until the end and see salvation through the chariots, right? Yahweh Shai returning, right? Yahweh Shai Hamashiach returning with the host of heaven to wipe out this world and usher in the new, which is what we are heralding. All right. Hey, and Yahweh Mahar, Godspeed. May that happen quickly. Right? Because at that last then, what? When you receive your final station, if you're an Israelite, your final station will either be you will inherit the kingdom of heaven, be the first fruits, right? Part of that elect, if you're a man, or if you're an elect woman, right? Not really elect, but part of the election of those people is in the 1/3, and a lot of that's going to be women and children. So that remnant is what I'm speaking of, right? The 1/3 that's remnant, that's going to be saved. All right, those will be the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, and through those men and women, the rest of our nation will be born back into the kingdom to inherit their lot in perpetuity forever, because then we will have our what the Christians call glorified bodies, right? We will never die again. Israelites will never die after that. So you're either going to have a high station and be a man or woman of high regard, or you're going to be in the kingdom hanging your head, man. Having the ability to recall this life. The scriptures talk about having everlasting shame. You want to make sure that you're not part of that lot, right? And of course, we know the heathen, they're just going to continue on the same path. They're going to come back every third and fourth generation, live out their judgment. And us Israelites are going to be the judges to pass down that judgment, right? From Yahweh to Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, King David, on down to the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children, man. All right. Verse 4, it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. What's a low estate? A low estate is when you catch in hell. Maybe your finances is super tight. All right. You ain't got no nest egg, no savings, no rainy day fund. You check the check. You know what I'm saying? You on 45 days later on all your shit, you got payment plans on right? And I'm giggling because, not giggling, but I'm chuckling because I know what that's like, man. Maybe it's health. For some, you could be sickly. Paul talks about that thorn in your side, right? Maybe you have an ongoing battle with something health wise, whether it be blood pressure or any other given, heart problems, a murmur, a weak valve, whatever. Maybe your immune system is shit. Maybe you got an autoimmune disease. right? Or maybe you just, your limbs ain't, whatever it is. Okay, you could be catching hell, get put out, lose your job, your car get repo, whatever. When you change to a lower state, it says what? Be patient. Verse 5. This is important as well. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Right? Gold tried in the fire. Well, we know the scriptures liken the men. It says, in that day, the men will be more precious than the gold of Ophir, right? And wisdom and stability shall be the stability of that time, roughly paraphrased. Right? But it says, for as gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. The scriptures also talk about the Lord making a smith, right? Who bloweth the coals. And that smith is Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, who is the smith running the refinery, the refiner. And we are the metal, right, that's being ran through the fire to purge out the dross, that as the scriptures talk about. And what's dross? It's metal, and it's pretty much junk metal of little worth, like copper, tin, lead, right? Manganese, shit like that. That's not really valuable. But gold and silver are precious metals. It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Adversity going into what? Hard times, man. So this verse right here proves that if your life is hunky-dory, as they say, the Lord ain't dealing with you, man. Because it says acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So if you don't have no hard times, if you're not catching hell, you really need to ask yourself, am I serving the living power, or am I serving an idol? If you're not catching hell, you need to really ask yourself, am I of the world, or am I just in the world? Right? Because we are to be in the world, but not of it. Roughly paraphrased. Okay? Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. That's the thing. Believe in the Lord. You have to believe. And more than just word. You have to believe in the Lord in deed, in your spirit. Your actions should show that you trust in the Lord. And people gonna think you crazy as fuck, man. They gonna think you don't give a damn, whatever. But the Lord gonna work everything out. The scriptures say whoever trusted in him and was confounded. Right? All right. So from there, let's go back to I'm gonna read this Galatians 5:16 one more time. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is Galatians 5:17 is what I was talking about. Galatians 5:16, and it reads, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Right? Let me read 17. I'm gonna read the whole thing again in the NLT. Right? It says, so I say, let the Holy Spirit guide your lives. Then you won't be doing what your sinful nature craves. The sinful nature wants to do evil, which is the opposite of what the spirit wants. And the spirit gives us desires that are the opposite of what the sinful nature desires. These two forces are constantly fighting each other. So you are not free to carry out your good intentions. That's what Paul mean, man. Right? Because he says, in another verse, he says the things that he would do, he doesn't, and the things that he don't want to do, he do them. So that's another example of him talking about how the spirit and the flesh be warring. Right? And whether you can understand this or receive this or not, you have to know that at some level, everything that you encounter in this life, everything is spiritual. Because the Lord controls the hell that he puts you in. He controls the hard times that he puts you in. Right? To prove your spirit. I just read to you, acceptable men tried in the furnace of adversity. That goes for the sisters too. But the thing about it is, you have to be sincere. You have to have a sincere spirit, because the scriptures tell us that the sacrifices of the Lord are a contrite heart and a broken spirit, man. Meaning being broken, like understanding how little worth you are, how filthy you are. Because once you understand that in itself will kill the pride. Like understanding that wipes out pride altogether. It should. All right. Now, I might gotta do another. Yeah, I might gotta break this up into twos. Yeah, you know what? Let me I'm gonna pick this up on part 2. All right. So Salaki. So we hit the book of Sirach chapter 2, like verses 1 through like 8, and then Galatians 5 and 16 and 17. All right. But we're gonna pick up the book of Psalms, the 73rd chapter in part 2. The whole chapter. All right. Catch y'all in part 2. Shalom. Wa abad babal. Shalat mata babal.